LeBron James all the way in.
And here comes Simmons the other way, 3-on-2. Simmons eludes the defender and lays it in with that. Certainly the length altered that shot. Out of the quick steps and crutches.
Play right there.
All right, Bernie, let's continue with the trades.
Okay.
Just as somebody we've talked about in the past, we mentioned him a little bit earlier. DeMarcus Cousins. They're not listening to any offers on DeMarcus Cousins. If that ends up being the case and they don't trade him, I think that's a serious mistake by the New Orleans Pelicans. At least listen to what you can get, because they're going to get some really, really good offers for him. Obviously, he's a superstar. Yeah. Just take the offers. You don't have to accept it, you know. And you don't think that DeMarcus Cousins understands that he might get traded, you know? Guarantee you he knows. But yeah, I find that a little interesting. Apparently the same thing goes for Paul George. They're not listening to any offers for Paul George, which I think is also a mistake. I just think any player where their future is that up in the air, there's no reason not to listen to offers.
Yeah, I just think, like, especially the way the Pelicans are, they're not going to be like a top 4 team anytime soon.
Yeah.
Because they're obviously going to be like stuck in the middle of the road, so they're never going to get like a first round pick that is good enough to where they can make a difference. I mean, unless you get like a Donovan Mitchell type player or someone like a gem.
A lucky pick, a Kuzma at 27. You just never know.
I just think the Pelicans' problem has always been shooting. They have bigs that play really big, but they don't have any shooters around them, and Holiday has proven to be kind of not a wasted contract like I've talked about before, but definitely
been really good recently.
He's been good recently, but that contract that they gave him, we expect him to be a superstar and still an all-star type of player, which has not been the case.
Yeah.
So I just think you need to hit the reset button with that team.
I hate that team. I hate it. If you guys didn't watch the report card, every day I look at their roster, or I see their roster somewhere, or I see their team playing, it blows my mind even more that somebody thought that would be a winning team.
Yeah, so I think they do need to do something about that. And then as it goes for the Paul George situation, I mean, unless you're 110% sure that guy is going to re-sign for your team, then I would do everything in my power to either, one, trade him if I'm not going to get anything for him, if he decides to leave. And two, like, I need a verbal and written agreement posted on ESPN's website and ESPN on TV saying Paul George is staying in Oklahoma City. Yeah. And then I'll believe that he's staying in Oklahoma City.
He needs to sign a contract.
Because if I'm the Oklahoma City Thunder, I have no guaranteed future. We've already traded pieces like Sabonis, Oladipo, all these other guys. They've traded those pieces away, so now they're stuck with what they've got. Especially if Paul George leaves, you're just stuck with Carmelo.
Yeah.
And then, your bench, which isn't very good. So.
Yeah, I agree. Man, I really don't know what they're going to do with that situation. Both of those teams. I think they need to come up with a plan.
Yeah.
And soon. Marc Gasol.
Yeah.
What do you think? I think he's a really hot commodity because he's really good. And why would the Memphis Grizzlies keep him? Honestly,
it's the same situation. The Marc Gasol, especially that Memphis team, like what they went through. They fired their coach Vid Sale earlier in the season. They've Mike Conley got injured at the wrong time, so their record has proven that they're not very good. I think it's time to hit the reset button with Memphis. They have no shooters around them. They're trying everything in their power. They also have Tyreke Evans, who they're also trying to trade away for a first-round pick, which is not going to happen. They just need to reset, get everybody off their books.
Get some assets.
Assets.
That team needs picks more than any team in the league. Honestly, because they're so dead in the water if they can't unload Marc Gasol or Mike Conley. They have nothing. Because I think they traded a lot of their picks away. I mean, I could be wrong, but if I remember correctly, they did trade a lot of their picks away.
I think Boston has their 2019 pick.
You're right. Boston does have their 2019 pick. It's just like, if you're this bad and you already don't have picks, what is your plan? You got to get rid of the guys that have value. Marc Gasol, Mike Conley, Tyreke Evans. They're trying to get a first-round pick out of Tyreke Evans. which isn't a bad shout because he's been really good. If some team wants to play him as a sixth man or just like a third scoring option, good shout for Tyreek. But that team needs some help in a big way. That might be the most dead in the water franchise in the whole league, really.
Yeah.
And that's saying something because they have two, star players, but they're built around nothing. They have Chandler Parsons signed to a crazy contract that he makes way too much money on. Mm-hmm. They're screwed. They need to do something.
Yeah, I mean, the Memphis, they just need to do everything in their power to get assets back. They need to listen to team offers on Mike Conley and Marc Gasol. I mean, Marc Gasol has a short window because he is, 30-something?
Yeah.
So he has a short window, maybe 3-4 years of being like a decently good player on a championship team. Mm-hmm. It just depends on who's going to pay for that. And also another player that we could talk about that could be getting traded is Dennis Schroeder. I heard teams are putting in offers. I mean, the Atlanta's asking price is really high from what I've heard.
It should be too.
But they're at least listening and not turning away the conversation because I know that team is also in rebuild mode and Dennis Schroeder's like, I don't even know how old he is, like 20.
I think he's 27.
Like 27?
I think so. Maybe 28. The Schroeder. While you're looking for Schroeder.
24.
He's 24. Holy God, we're so off today. Everybody were like 3 years ahead or 3 years behind.
Yeah.
Dennis Schroeder, his asking price, even more so because he's only 24, his price should be really high. Mm-hmm. Like, he's very good this season. He's proving a lot of people wrong, and he's scoring. Like, his scoring is great this year.
Yeah, against the Lakers, he had 27 points.
I think they can get some good value out of him, too. Like, obvious, like, very good value. And that's a team that needs really good value. Because he's not going to restart your franchise, and he's not... I just wouldn't want to rebuild necessarily around Schroeder.
Yeah.
But a team that could get him that doesn't necessarily need to rebuild, they just need another star. He's a perfect pick.
Yeah, I think the asking price should be high for Schroeder now looking at his age and what he's done so far. And he's, posting career highs in his field goal, his points, and his rebounding and assists as well, along with steals. So I think it's time for him to... not him, but just specifically the Hawks, if you're not going to get a very big offer, like another first-round pick and maybe like a decently good point guard, then don't listen to it. You can build around Collins. You can build around Schroeder. And then if you decide to add Bagley or Ayton or Trae Young even, then you might have a good core around there again like you did when you had Kyle Korver, DeMar Carroll, and all those guys.
Horford and stuff like that. Yeah, I agree. Couple players that I was thinking about that should be more in the talks of trade rumors that aren't. Mm-hmm. First and foremost, Justice Winslow.
Too many Urkels on your team.
I think Justice Winslow needs to get traded.
You think so?
I like Justice Winslow. I was really high on him when he came out of the draft. And he hasn't necessarily been very good, per se, in the NBA. He hasn't been bad, though, either. You know? He's just been average. But I think his potential is still there. He's still really young. What's this, his second year in the league? I'm pretty sure, right?
No, this is his third year.
This is his third year. All right. Still, what is he, 22 or 21?
He's 21.
I think he's in a system.
Sorry, 2 years. 2 years.
2 years? I think he's in a system that doesn't meet the kind of player that he is. Mm-hmm. And I think he's in a very crowded ecosystem, so to say, with the Miami Heat.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of people in his position that play there, and there's just too many moving pieces on there, kind of a complicated roster for him to be as effective as he could be. And I think if he was to go to, a team where he could be one of their top 3 guys, I think he would have a much better chance of being a star in the league. And I think he has a good shot at doing it if he can get on a team that, like I said, suits his needs a little bit more. What do you think about Justice Winslow?
I think he's good, but not as good as I thought he was going to be. I remember in that draft, a lot of people were claiming that he was the steal of the draft.
Mm-hmm. Because I still think he can be, but for someone else.
I just think, like you said, they have Josh Richardson starting in front of him, so he's obviously coming off the bench, providing some decently good minutes. Yeah. But like I want to believe in Justice Winslow, and I think he's really good, but
even then, look at the other. There's two other guys on their second team, on the bench that I feel like come off the bench way more than him. Tyler Johnson and Wayne Ellington come off the bench more than he does. Like I think he's just in a system that is not befitting of him per se, and I think he would benefit from being more focal point of an offense. I like Justice Winslow. I really do think he's still all the potential's still there, because he hasn't even been bad. He really hasn't been bad. He's just been a little bit like average.
Yeah, he's just playing like he's a off the bench scorer rather than like the number 10th pick.
Yeah.
In the NBA draft. Yeah. So I don't know. I'm not going to be like completely sold on him, and I'm not going to be completely off him yet.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be kind of wait and see with him still. He's only 21, 2 years in the league. I think we'll see if he does get the move of moving somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
Like, will he be the guy that we thought he was going to be in college? Because in college he was really good.
Yeah.
Here in the NBA, not so much.
Yeah, I agree. But we'll see. We'll see what happens with him. He's just one of those guys. I think there's not enough talk about him being traded because, like, what's he doing for the team?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe look to, let him go and get some value in return because he still has pretty good value too. Last but not least, I don't think people are talking about Mike Conley enough. Is he able to be traded? I don't see why not, right?
I don't think so. I don't think he has a no-trade clause in his huge contract that he signed. I think that was number 1 at one point.
He does have a no trade?
He does not.
Oh, okay. So he could be on the block. So why? Like, I don't know why we're not hearing anything about Mike Conley being traded because his asking price would be really high, but I think there'd be teams that would certainly take the risk of getting him. A team, and I mentioned them earlier. I don't know how they would do it. Mike Conley would fit so perfectly on San Antonio.
He'd be a good fit.
He'd be so perfect on San Antonio. Oh my gosh, that'd be so fun to watch. I just got really excited about Mike Conley on San Antonio.
But yeah, no sort of contract issued here in terms of having a no trade contract. So, the thing is, like, he's going to hit $28 million on the cap.
Yeah.
So it's going to be high risk, high reward, depending on what team would want to trade for him.
And he's 30.
So he's only going to have I'm going to give him 4 or 5 years of good ball left in terms of just being a serviceable point guard. He was really good, and I think they wasted his years.
Yeah, I agree.
Because they didn't get any better. Obviously they had the grindhouse back when the Clippers were there, and they were the nemesis of the Clippers. With Mike Conley and Zach Randolph being on the team together. But I just don't see this team really doing anything with him, and they should trade him. But the problem is, he has a big contract. He's 30 years old, so who is going to be taking the risk for him? Because I don't think the Memphis Grizzlies want to trade him unless they're getting a first-round pick or at least another player of his equal.
This is the last year they have any opportunity of doing that with Mike Conley.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that they should go all in on trying to get first-round picks from, Gasol and Conley. Just do it.
Yeah, I would echo that sentiment, really. There's no other way to really describe the Memphis Grizzlies other than they need to trade those players away and get picks. Because they're stuck in this purgatory where the Charlotte, I almost want to call them the Bobcats, the Charlotte Hornets, and other teams like them are just stuck in this, this is a wrestling term, but mid-card purgatory.
Yeah, really. They're just stuck. And they had their best years are certainly behind them and obviously not happening this year.
Yeah.
Last quick thing.
Okay.
We talked about Khris Middleton a little bit ago in context with the DeAndre Jordan trade, but I think he's going to get traded regardless of whether he goes to the Clippers or not. I really like Khris Middleton. I think he's a great scorer. I've heard some teams that are interested. I've heard Detroit.
Okay.
I think that would be a good match. Goodness gracious, I think that'd be a good match. New Orleans, I've also heard, if they decide that they are going to keep DeMarcus Cousins, not trade him, and they keep Anthony Davis, that they would push to get a wingman, and that would be Khris Middleton. I think he'd be a really good mix for them too. Is there any teams you'd like to see him, possibly go to?
What was the first team that you said?
Detroit.
Detroit. I think Detroit.
Yeah, that'd be fun to watch.
I think Detroit would be a good match for him. He's obviously not going to be a point guard since he is a small forward, but he does provide that length and athleticism. Even though they do have Stanley Johnson, who's more of a defensive guy.
I like Stanley Johnson though.
I like him too, but I think Khris is more of the offensive-minded guy. You could either play him at the 2 or the 3.
Yeah, I agree.
I think there's still, like I've been saying before, they're missing a point guard.
I don't really like Reggie Jackson. That's my biggest problem with the team.
I think Reggie Jackson's serviceable, but he wasn't what they signed him to be as, like an all-star caliber player.
Yeah.
So if they can find a point guard along with Khris Middleton, I think this team will be very, very good.
Is Reggie Jackson hurt?
Yeah, he's hurt.
Oh, okay. I was just curious why. I didn't know he got hurt. I was wondering why Ish Smith was their number 1 point guard. I don't know. I think they could get rid of Reggie Jackson, possibly. Pick up Khris Middleton. That'd be a good shot. All right. I think that's probably going to be good for the trades. I think we kind of broke down a lot of the big ones.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, as the All-Star break continues, I know the trade deadline has extended to a week before the All-Star break, so it's not going to happen during the All-Star break, so they don't get questions about it. But as soon as we get more towards the All-Star weekend and that week before, we'll let you know about other trades, rumors, possible movement.
I think February 8th is the trade deadline. So we'll definitely talk about it more. I think, especially considering the Knicks are supposed to be one of the top pushers to make some big trades. I would love to see it. We'll definitely be talking about those. Who knows? Boston likes to throw out some crazy trades too, so
yeah,
we could see something like that too.
But anyway, guys, this has been The Charge. We've obviously talked about power rankings. We talked about LeVar Ball, some NBA ref issues, and along with some trade rumors. But please remember, guys, to like, share, and subscribe to this video. Remember, on the road to 50, we're only 5 subscribers away from the road to 50, so please remember to hit that sub button.
Tell your friends about it. We're not just basketball. We got other stuff too. So, keep your eye out. We're doing big things 2018.
Exactly. Big things 2018. But other than that, guys, this has been your boy Bernie along with Pete. We'll see you guys on the next episode.